Hey there, baseball fans. Nathan Rohde and Shooter Hunt here, bringing you the latest episode of Coffee and Curveballs. We were off last week because of some travel and logistics kind of got in the way of trying to record the episode, but we're back and got a good show for you. I'm going to talk about my trip to the Northeast, but Shooter, we got some stuff coming out of Oklahoma as well.
Yeah, Rody, you are dodging raindrops all up and down the Northeast, but the state tournament playoffs have kicked into full gear. Texas, Florida, Louisiana, all the southern states, Alabama, but Oklahoma is the one that we're geared up for today.
Excellent. Well, let's get to it. So we're going to welcome in now Andy Urban, our scouting director for PBR Oklahoma. Andy, we really appreciate you coming on today, talk a little bit about the state playoffs in the Sooner State. Tell us, how has the spring been so far for you?
The spring just completed last weekend with 2A through 6A state tournament stuff, and it was absolutely fun to watch. A lot of high-end talent, especially in that 2020 class, on display.
Yeah, Andy, I was loving following along because the state tournaments, when they bring them to the same site and there's so many games and the crowds just pack the stadiums and you can feel the energy, nothing better than that, especially in high school baseball. It rallies around the towns. But the game that I was looking at was Owasso versus Mustang because Dax Fulton and Nate Wolgamott, two of the top 2020s in the country, squared off. I almost hopped on a plane and made my way to Tulsa, but I didn't end up making it, but I was living vicariously through you. Tell us a little bit about that game.
Yeah, that was a big-time matchup. Obviously, two of the top 2020 arms in the country going at it. And to boot, Mustang's the defending 6A champ. Owasso is a perennial national powerhouse. So the atmosphere was a high level college atmosphere, almost sold out. Oral Roberts,
Wow.
And Nate and Dax, they delivered. They did exactly what they were expected to do. It was really impressive to watch.
So Owasso ended up winning the game. Both guys had great outings. Nate Wolgamott, guy that we've known for a while, one of the top 2020s in the country, has been up into the creeping into the upper 90s with his fastball. What was he like on this day?
Came out 90-92 early, really showed that plus changeup at 81, 85, swing and miss stuff on the changeup. The breaking ball came along a little later in the outing. He was trying to throw it as a bigger curveball early, had some command issues with it, and shortened it up a little bit and got some swings and misses in the fifth and sixth inning on it, and it looked really good. 7 punch-outs. Had 5 walks. He would lock in for 8 to 10 pitches, and every now and then he would lose a little bit. But it was impressive to watch the young man kind of compete at it and really overcome some things. He went CG. His last pitch was his 114th pitch of the game, and it was at 91.
Oh, wow. He really holds that. He has that stamina, real physical athlete, durable frame. But you touched on it there. His secondary stuff has been something that has stood out to me for a while now. Even though the velocity gets into the mid-90s, his ability to rip off that power changeup, and then even the breaking ball has been really good in the past, but his ability to make those adjustments throughout the game for a sophomore in high school, that's almost unheard of.
Yeah, it's impressive, and he competed, and it was a, like I said, big time matchup, big time players all over the field, and he found a way to stand out again.
Now Fulton, who's a big left-hander, has that prototypical workhorse frame, Vanderbilt recruit. What was he like in the outing? Because I know that big breaking ball is something that we've been following since the future games where he flashed that big time stuff. What was that looking like?
Yeah, so early on, him like Nate came out of the gates hot. He was 85, 89 in the first 2 innings. The breaking ball we saw at the future games was 75, 79. He was throwing it a little slower against in that outing, but it was even bigger. It was a huge 1-7 breaking ball with big depth, and he used it throughout the game, often in any count, and really that was his key to holding the high-powered Owasso offense at bay, was that breaking ball was the equalizer. He, again, had a great outing, went 9 punch-outs, 3 walks, threw 5 2/3. It was really impressive. He also mixed in a little two-seam and a changeup as well.
Interesting.
Sounds like a fun matchup to watch, Andy. But anyone that was following PBR Oklahoma, and if you're not, you really should. Andy's got a ton of great information. But it seemed like you were at the Carson Atwood show recently. Fill us in on him, and it sounds like he actually, is kind of maybe showing himself as a two-way guy, huh?
Yeah, he came out in February at a preseason All-State and showed some really big velos on the mound, 90-92 at that event. And, he's obviously a big workhorse fame, strong kid. And but all year, and then especially in the state tournament, he's making a bid to be a legit two-way player. He's got big arm strength from third base, but the barrel is really starting to come around. He's making more consistent contact with a bunch of strength, and he wants to be a two-way. So he's starting to prove it. So he's been a fun guy to watch, and he really had an outstanding state tournament at the Dish.
Well, he may be leading another talented 2020 crop for your future games team. Even after last year, you rolled out dude after dude after dude. I mean, all of a sudden you have Carson Atwood's going to lead that staff, which I think features some good left-handers as well.
Yeah, last year was a lot of already known guys with high profiles that had been on the circuit. This year it's going to be a lot of guys who are just now developing and coming into their own. And there you could see four or five left-handers from Oklahoma that really impress some guys that jump on the radar at the future games.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what team you put together for the future games. But also before that, I may make my way to your limited series in Tulsa, which is putting together a stacked crop of teams. So good stuff with that.
Yeah, that event should be fun. A lot of high-level teams from the Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois, Wisconsin areas that are high-level, and it'll be fun. That's going down at Oral Roberts too.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to hearing more about that, and then obviously seeing another Team Oklahoma at the Future Games in August. Andy, thanks so much for joining us today. Keep it up with the great work on the content, and we look forward to having you on again in the future.
Thanks, fellas.
So, Shooter, let's shift the focus now, going from Oklahoma to the Northeast, where I just returned from, on a swing through to see some of the top draft prospects. It was a trying week. You're a Northeast guy, and so I know you know this, but I really feel for Northeast scouts. I was there for a week, and I changed my schedule every morning, and at the end of the trip, I was ready just to throw my hands up and be done with it. For guys to do that for an entire spring, man, I really feel for them.
It's so tough, and one of the things that I really wish they could do that they've done in the Pacific Northwest more is to get those turf fields. I know it costs money, but to have the chance to where a quick storm rolls through at 4 o'clock, but to be able to get back on the field at 4:45 and play that game instead of a lot of those fields. Hey, if it's a hard rain, that's 3 days where you're not getting back on. So I know your troubles that you had up there. I was following along, which was not fun for you.
No, it was.
And I apologize.
It ended up being a lot of driving around, but I did get to see some players. I even got to hang out with the Hunt family for a night. I was seeking refuge. The hotel options were not very good. I didn't want to drive around New York City in the teeth of a nasty storm that came through. So TJ and your family stepped up. I got to hang out with your younger brother, KC. Got some good young childhood shooter hunt stories. Your dad wanted me to mention you hanging a curveball in the state championship. But no, it was obviously a big thanks to the Hunt family for taking me in for a night up in North Jersey before moving on. But I did get to see some good players. Namely Nick Decker. I was with your brother TJ for that game, hanging out, and he's a strong kid. Like, he just walks up, and you're like this guy hits. He's got strong hands, strength through the forearm. It's a wide back, so he's just going to continue to fill out. He's a cannon for an arm, which I don't remember him having that last summer. Or maybe it did just get better, but it's really strong. Should be plus down the road for him. First at bat, smokes a single over the shortstop, off his glove, but it was clean single. So to the left side, working away. Next two at bats, put him on. So
do you blame him?
No, I don't. It was a Diamond Classic, so it was a tournament setting. I get it. The game finally did get out of hand, though, and they pitched to him, which was nice. I'm glad that once they saw it was like 6-0, 8-0, that they were like, all right, let's throw to this guy, even though there wasn't a huge crowd of scouts there. But they kept working him away, and Decker, he knew that, so he just kept staying away. Deep fly ball to left center that was a double, showing off some power to the opposite gap. And then in his last at-bat, he got a little anxious, a little out in front, ended up going in Adrian Beltre, dropping down to a knee, but blooped it over the shortstop. So he finished, it was 3 for 3, 3 RBIs, 3 runs scored on the day for Nick Decker. So pretty good showing from him. Probably one of the better showings I saw in that week in the Northeast.
Yeah, he's one of the more talented hitters in the Northeast, and you touched on it, the strength and that power. Even as a corner outfielder, he has a chance to go, earlier on in the draft because of that power.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing working against him is, he's a corner outfielder for me. He doesn't have the speed to play in center field. He's got the arm and the mobility to be in right field for me, and the profile offensively to fit there. But that's a tough demographic to take out of high school for teams. So, if somebody really likes the bat and believes in it, I can see second, third round kind of being his ceiling. But, if Maryland's calling me and saying, hey, what do you think? Is this guy going to get to us? I don't know what to tell them. I think they can get him. And if they do, that would be huge because he would be in the middle of their order almost right away. But at the same time, it's a pretty good bat, so it'll be interesting to see what the big league teams, organizations feel on him. So we got 2 weeks, man. We'll see how it all shakes out by then. But I also got to see Steven Hajar and Patrick Winkle up in New England. Hajar is pretty athletic lefty, committed to Michigan. Mostly 87, 89, 87, 90, touched 2 or 3 for me early on, but good left-handed arm. There's some finish to the fastball, pretty, athletic delivery. Breaking ball needs some work still, same thing I saw at area code games. He's a guy I think is definitely ticketed for school. A pretty good option, obviously, academically in Michigan. Michigan has made some strides as a program on the field, but if he gets to Michigan there, that's a pretty good pretty big win for the Wolverines because he'll be a pretty good arm there.
Absolutely. I'm sure they want him getting there because they're penciling him in as a weekend guy at some point.
Yeah. So I was hoping to see Mike Ciani, but the rain prevented that. 2 of his games I tried to see got washed out. But then also I ended up needing to stay back a day to see Lenny Torres, so I missed Ciani's game that day. So I didn't see Ciani, but on that last day when his game got rained out, the skies cleared in Connecticut for a few hours, and I got to see Patrick Winkle, left-handed hitting catcher, committed to Connecticut, where his brother Chris is currently a sophomore. Patrick Winkle, no more as a defender, soft hands behind the plate shooter. I'm sure if you saw the video, you would have loved it because I know how you feel about catchers receiving. He's pretty good at it. Average arm, pretty clean exchange, so I think that can get better. So pretty consistently 1.9 to 2.1 in between innings. Nobody dared run on him, so I didn't get any in-game pop times, which is not surprising. But he showed off some power in the game. Hit a bomb in his second at-bat, and in his fourth at-bat, he doubled down the line. A little bit of a shouldery swing, but it's short and it's powerful and compact, so something to work with there. Think he gets to Connecticut. I hear there are some teams that do like him, kind of in that third round range. But for me, I think he ends up with the Huskies and playing with his brother for another year.
Well, they'll be excited about that. I know that they got a really strong 18 class, and he's headlining it, so hopefully he gets up there.
Indeed. So obviously a lot to see from the roadshow and the trip through the Northeast, so be sure to jump on prepbaseballreport.com. But, Shooter, let's move on. No spin zone this week because
Bomb Squad took over everywhere. It was Bomb Squad, Bomb Squad, Bomb Squad. I mean, home runs were very prevalent throughout all the state tournament happenings, especially in the South. But right off the bat, Drake Browning, Arkansas, 2019. Nice little bat flip, a little finger roll, a little Jelly Fam shout out there. Good for you, Drake Browning. Luke Cruz out of Arkansas, walk-off jack, which are the best kind of jacks. So good job. Yorby Villamar out of New York, nice home run here. And then you touched on it, but Patrick Winkle, hey, left-hander, no doubter. It was textbook. They should break this down. As soon as freshmen get on campus, this is how we hit home runs and watch them and go into our trot. So good job there.
Excellent. Yeah, he knew he got that one. It was out. It got out in a hurry. Nice little shooter hunt rule, 4 steps before he started his trot. Really no bat flip, but nice little pimp job there from Patrick Winkle. So
it was subtle. Well done.
Yeah, there you go. So that's hashtag Bob Squad on Coffee and Curveballs this week for you. Shooter, what is next?
You know what? This is going to air on Tuesday morning, which will start conference tournament play in college, and I am giddy about this week because on the West Coast, games start up for me at like 8 a.m. So all day long, I'll be watching college baseball while gearing myself up for next week. The PBR Limited Series coming to IMG down in Florida, going to kick off my summer season. I can't wait to see all the Florida talent. What about you? What do you got coming?
Well, as you mentioned, conference tournaments are starting. I am in Durham, North Carolina, which means 15 minutes from my house, from my front step, is the Durham Bulls Athletic Park and the ACC tournament. So I will poke my head in there. I won't be there for the duration because, quite frankly, I just don't have that much time. But I will poke my head in, try to check some guys out. Jake McCarthy with Virginia is back. Obviously want to get a look at him. Seth Beer for Clemson. Our guys have seen plenty of Griffin Roberts, but I really want to see that slider in person, so I'll probably drop in for a Wake Forest game when he's pitching. So be sure to follow along on social media. I will have some tweets from there. I'm sure I'll run into our friend Aaron Fitt with D1 Baseball. And be sure to follow those guys along all week as they check out a lot of conference tournaments around the country. I don't know exactly where they're going. I'm sure they'll go to multiple ones because those guys are traveling fiends this time of year. But be sure to follow the guys at d1baseball.com for your conference tournament coverage. Likewise, on prepbaseballreport.com, you guys need to check out our draft content. We're starting this week with the team forecasts. It's not a mock draft, but it's kind of giving you an idea of the names to think about and look at for your team at their pick in the first round. So we'll give you a little bit of a breakdown on what those teams have done in the past, and then a little bit of a forecast saying who might be in play, who might they be thinking about, or who fits their tendencies. And then on top of that, with those players, they'll have notes on the players, links to their profile, so you can check out their draft reports as well as video. So tons of content coming your way with the draft, which is, now that this is airing on a Tuesday, just under 2 weeks away.
The draft is coming, Rhodey. I'm jacked up for it because it's going to be a wild one this year.
It is. It is. We'll, you and I and David Seifert will be hanging out with the crew in Chicago at headquarters this year for the 2018 MLB draft, and we'll have plenty coming your way live during the draft and follow up from it. But in the meantime, got plenty of content coming for you in the next 2 weeks on prepbaseballreport.com. Should be sure to follow along. But as always, for Shooter Hunt, I'm Nathan Rohde. This is Coffee and Curveballs, and until next time, we'll see you guys at the ballpark.